Welcome back to Very Trained Fishing. My name's Josh, and thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I have an awesome interview today with last weekend's Toyota Series champ, Hunter Baughman, and it is awesome. Let's take some time and get to know Hunter here. But before we do that, please like and subscribe to the video. It would really help us out. And now, without further ado, Hunter Baughman. Hunter, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, but you got to be on cloud nine. Can you tell me how this victory lap's going with all the calls and everything, man?
Man, it's been crazy. My phone's finally slowed down a little bit after 2 or 3 days, but it's been a wild few days, man.
Yeah. I actually had a gentleman. There's a local tackle shop up here. It's a Tombstone Tackle. Shout out. But he was a local that was down there and watched the weigh-in. Um, he watched the weigh-in, and last night my son and I watched the weigh-in from MLF. And you got a little emotional there. Can you tell me? You know, what caused that emotion for you, I guess, and what it's like to have that feeling of a win underneath your belt. I mean, from behind you, it looks like you've had some other success, but what's that like to get, this Toyota Series win and the emotion behind that?
Man, this isn't an overnight deal at all. I've worked for a really long time to make a career out of this thing. I'm almost 36. I'll be 36 in a few days, and I've tournament fished since I was, mid-teens. Decided I really wanted to do it late teens, early 20s, and have worked really hard, especially from that point forward. And man, yes, I've had a good career, lots of wins, but nothing obviously at this level. And it's just it. There's so much emotion and so much stress into the whole,
Yeah.
process, and all of a sudden it ends, and you realize you actually won, and it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. Talk about that a little bit. The support system. Some other interviews I watched. I know you worked hard, and they asked for some advice for people that want to be pros, or to keep their head up and just kind of overcome. And something that you said stuck out to me. It was if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. And along those lines, what's the support system that you have in place that allows you to be able to go and do these things, and a lot of people watching you and all that? Can you kind of describe your wife and your friends and the support system that you have there, as far as that's concerned?
For sure, my wife Andrea, she works so hard and wants this to happen for me so bad. Yesterday she spent hours. I've got a 16, or we've got a 16-month-old. And of course, she had the baby with her. I was gone doing some other stuff, and she was updating my website. She has no idea how to update a website. She's learning as she goes, but um, she got a lot of it done, and just, man, anything I ever need, she's right there to help with. My family, her family are so supportive of
Yeah.
everything. They have been. My family, my whole life has been supportive, and then hers since I've known them. And it's just, and buddies, man, it's been overwhelming. The people I've
Yeah.
fished against my whole life that have reached out this last few days just to tell me congratulations. It's awesome.
Yeah. And for me, this year is my first year competing, and I know you said you had some, you built success for your name in the BFL series. Were you co-angling in the BFL, or were you boating when you were doing
Uh,
all that?
I did one tournament ever as a co-angler, and I hated it. So
What? Yeah.
I've pretty much, it just, by the time I did it, I had already fished as a boater for a long time, and it was like going backwards, and man, I struggled with it. So I've just always done the boater side, and kind of taught myself how. My family's fished, but bass fishing wasn't really their thing. So
Yeah.
for the most part, taught myself how on the bass fishing end of it. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
go,
Sorry, brother.
no, you're good. Anyway, and just, yeah, I mean, my dad has taken me fishing my whole life, but like I said, the bass fishing part, I've just kind of learned as I went.
Yeah, and it looks like from when I look you up, you do a lot of hunting too. I mean, is this outdoor lifestyle just something you've done your entire life?
Man, it is. It's just a way of life for my family. And I hunt. I think I said on a different interview, if I could deer hunt 12 months out of the year, I don't even know if I'd own a bass boat. I mean, man, I love it. I'm sitting here in the office, got 15 deer heads hanging in it. So I absolutely love it, man. And I just love being outside.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool, man. Me too. So let's get into some of the tournament. Before we do that, my viewers may not know about you. You had bacterial meningitis as an infant, and it's kind of led to uh, the life that you've lived. No legs, three fingers on one hand, and you dominated last weekend. What was your biggest bag that last day? Was it like 19 and some change?
19-1.
Man, that's awesome, man. It's just unremarkable. It's already hard to win a tournament, period. Boater side, co-angler side, and I looked at the baits that you used, and I got the BFL Super Tournament this weekend at Lake of the Ozarks, and I'm questioning myself. I got the half ounce, but you said you really utilized that 3/4 ounce too. That was also on the deck with you. You explain a little bit of your strategy going in, and at what point did you ever have to pivot and be like, all right, this isn't working? But from your bags, looks like you did okay all 3 days, but it's a grind, and tell us about that a little.
Yeah. So the first day of practice, I spent some time up some creeks with a few bites, nothing crazy. I saw two brush piles on Livescope while I was in those creeks, and I caught a keeper out of both piles, and so that was like, okay, so pile, and I had the whole pile mentality thing going into it anyway. That's what I thought I wanted to do. Truman doesn't really look completely like a normal Ozark type lake, but I'm from Arkansas, fish the Ozark type lakes, and brush piles do play. And so day two, I was like, I'm committing to brush piles, and I did, and I shook like 25 bites, caught three. They were all shorts, and so I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I just can't imagine going all day fishing piles and having bites and not catching keepers anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And uh, day three, I tried to do anything besides that, and I never caught a keeper. And I put first pile I pulled up to, I shook another bite, and I marked more. And I ended up having about 100 waypoints, and it felt like that. Even though I was in 5 to 15 feet, and a lot of them were in like 5 to 8, but for whatever reason, that 3/4 ounce, I drug it a 5/16 and a shaky head around in practice, and the shaky head got bit, but they were the little bites. The 3/4 felt like it always got bit on the first or second throw. I guess it was just going, quick down in the middle of the piles.
Sure.
So I opted to stay with it as much as I could, about 100 waypoints to start the tournament. And I just started rotating through them, man. I I had several little stumps and stuff along the way that I'd marked on Livescope in between the piles. And I'd just get on a stretch of bank and drop the trolling motor, and I'd fish from one waypoint to the next. I might throw a buzz bait or a spinner bait a little bit in between, but I never caught a keeper doing that.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm a big believer. It's probably my confidence bait is the shaky head. What kind of do you want to disclose? What kind of worm you were using? I'll tell you first. The one that I really like is the net bait T Mac. It's an 8 inch, and I usually throw it on a quarter or so. But that's my go to. But if you go down and fish like a 5 inch straight worm or trick worm or something like that on there,
Right.
I noticed that I'm catching a lot more fish, but you're right. They are the shorts. They are the smaller ones for the majority. And every once in a while you'll get, that keeper. Do you fish a bigger worm on your shaky head or something smaller? Or you got a array that you like to use?
I actually had a baby brush hog on there,
Oh,
which
okay.
I do that some anyway. But I was told I didn't know much at all about Truman going into it. But the boy I was staying with or rooming with, Josh Shirley, he said, "Man, this is a brush hog lake." So I had a baby brush hog on shaky head, and I actually threw around a full size brush hog. So man, I never had a bite on a full size brush hog, but I did. I just stuck the baby brush hog on that shaky head, a little Brazalo custom lures shaky head, a new
Yeah.
one they came out with. That's pretty sweet little setup they have. But um, so that's I just one color, one bait, just threw it around and immediately got bit on it. But like I said, I never caught a keeper on it.
Yeah, those are frustrating. Speaking of not knowing about the lakes, that first time fishing Truman actually for you?
Yes, that Monday of the week of the tournament was the first day I'd seen it.
Dang. So that same gentleman, that local from Warsaw that, was telling me about the way in, and he travels up and he just likes to talk shop. So he drives an hour and a half up, I guess, to the, and to the, to Tombstone, which, it's the oldest, bait shop in Columbia, Missouri here. I think it's 30 plus years or something like that. But anyway, he said that, and I don't know if this is true, so I want to ask you. He said, he saw you out at, by the mile long bridge. Were you out there kind of just in the flats out there? Do you know that big bridge from Warsaw to Clinton? It's just a big bridge. And if you're on the water, you can't miss it. Did you, ever fish out there by that?
I graphed. I actually had 3 or 4 waypoints there. And what's funny, that from I was around the dam a lot, and basically everything I fished I
Yeah.
could see from the dam. And that bridge is what, like 2 miles from there. I mean, it's not far. And
Yeah.
2 days I started my way around there, and I'm like, oh, that's too far. I don't think I want to go. I mean, I felt like everything was right there. So I never went back and fished those waypoints I had marked.
Yeah, I think the last BFL was out there, and those bluffs that are by that dam, they were running water, so you had some current going through there. And I used DT16 there on the cliffs there, and caught 4.5 pounder. That was my only fish for the day. But on the co-angler side, it don't take much. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
um,
That's a big one, man, anywhere.
yeah, so let me transition into your adaptations for the boat. Can you kind of walk me through, and my viewers through, how you drive the boat, how you operate the trolling motor, all those things? Like, what have you done to your boat that you had to do to be successful?
So on the big motor, nothing. I mean, I don't have a hot foot obviously on it, but I just drive it hand throttle.
Yeah,
On
man.
the trolling motor, I've got a plate in the recessed area to keep my
Mhm.
trolling motor from being recessed, basically old school, even with the deck. And what that allows me to do, I can put my knee on the back of it, the pedal, push down to go left, or actually push up on the bottom of the pedal to go the opposite way.
Well, that's pretty cool. And your seat too, does it swivel back and forth?
It does. It's just a butt seat. It just doesn't have the pole in it. It's just a butt seat goes straight in the deck.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Okay, well, the other thing I wanted to talk to you, because you've lived your whole life, which is normal to you, and I mean you're succeeding at it. And I did want to ask, without putting words into your mouth from other interviews that I've seen. Times are tough now. A lot of people going through a lot of things. I'm sure you have struggles every day, and it's just become normal to you. In your own words, what's something you could tell some people to, man, to just keep their chin up? Because a lot of people are needing some of that good advice. And after your win this past weekend and your past success, I mean, a lot of people look up to you. My son even would say, "Dad, can I come down and get one of your ear pods? I want to say hi to Hunter and all this stuff." And I'm like, man, I really would like you to, but he gets a little out of hand. He'd want to talk to you a little bit. But what do you have to say to those that kind of need to keep their chin up and keep going?
Man, we all have issues, whether it's something like me that you see from the outside, or a lot of people have stuff going on the inside. But everybody has something going on in their life, and just, man, it's just put your faith in God, and keep going forward. uh, work for it. There's no point in being down. Just figure out a way to do whatever you need to do that fits you, because everyone's different.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. Something I wanted to talk to you also about too, Hunter. There's some debatable stuff in fishing, um, and I don't know if you're aware of him, Randy Blockett. He has an intuitive angling channel. I don't know if you saw some of mine, but I wanted to ask your opinion about Livescope. Now, these days, you need it to compete because everybody's got it. It's if you want to be in the top echelon, you have to have it. But in your mind, as far as fishing is concerned, um, do you think that Livescope necessarily ruining the sport, or not? How do you feel about that?
No, I don't think so. And I saw that Randy actually did a congratulatory video to me, and then I saw he had another one talking about live scope and release
Yeah.
areas, and my picture on there. But I live scope, it's such a debate in the fishing world, and I really believe it's a tool. I had it on my boat for a year before I ever even knew really what I was doing with it. And I caught no more fish with it. And I put the time in to learn it, but if somebody said I want to put the time in to learn how to fish shallow all the time, then I don't see why they couldn't just do that. I mean, look at John Cox.
Hmm.
Dude's won FLWs and elites and everything, and doesn't even use graphs. But you know, I, if you'll look, the guys catching them, especially look at your local tournaments, the guys that are catching them on Livescope were taking the same money before there was Livescope. It's just that's what it is. They're good fishermen that have learned how to use a new tool. It makes you more efficient. I was not a very good brush pile fisherman before Livescope. And it's not that I'm watching the fish bite. It just gives me the confidence to know my bait's falling into the pile when I throw
Yeah.
versus making 5 throws, getting mad and picking up and leaving because I never hit the pile. But it doesn't make me a better fisherman. It makes me more efficient because every throw is where it needs to be.
Yeah, man.
I think it's just a tool, man. It's like for somebody like John Cox who's rolling down the bank, power pole's stopping. Without that, how would he stop? It's another tool, and I think in 5 or 6 years, Livescope won't be that big a deal. It'll be something else newer that's crazy that we can, who knows, measure the fish before who knows what the next step is. But it blows my mind how much people are upset about Livescope. I mean, it's generally speaking, I catch maybe one bonus fish a day on Livescope. In this tournament, I had a 5 pounder I caught that I saw swimming in a pile, and I stopped my boat and I made a throw and caught that fish. Other than that, if I had those piles marked, I could have caught all those fish without it because I was just
Yeah.
throwing to the pile.
Yeah, and I like to have this conversation because I would be someone on the other end. But like when you talk about it's just a tool, and those same people that were winning before are going to continue to put in the work and learn new ways to use LiveScope or however it may be. And yeah, I kind of get that perspective. So love to have the conversation about it. One little thing I want to do here at the end, but before that, I forgot. You're expecting a new baby, man. What's up with that? You're starting over again at what, 36?
Man, yeah, well, we got a 16-month-old, and then we've got another one due, and we had I guess 2 months like from this week. So
Man, that's awesome.
it's going to be
That's
absolute chaos with two under two.
Well, without we haven't told anybody, but I'm 38, so I'm just found out I'm expecting next May, so I'll be
Really?
39. 39. So I think I'm a better dad at an older age, to be honest with you. I have Roman and Veda. They're 10 and 8, and then this new one. But man, I don't think I've ever been a better dad than like right now. You know what I mean? I don't. Do you feel the same about that?
Man, yeah, I guess I've never been a dad the last year, so but I think so. I think you're a little bit more mature at this point, and my wife and I actually tried for 7 years to have kids, so I don't care if I'm 60. If we can have kids, I'm game.
Man, that's dang, that's awesome, man. Well, that's great. Okay, so I want to do a little rapid fire here thing. I want a one word response for a few of these, and then we'll close it out, and we'll talk a little afterwards, and then we'll let you go. Okay, so I got about 4 or 5 things. Well, what is that? 5 or 6 things. Just give me a one word response. I'll give you, and as it relates to fishing. All right. So everything else has been almost scripted for you here, but let's. I want to see what you got to say. So, all right, ready?
Ready?
All right. Live scope,
Tool,
bait fuel,
scent,
Evan Rude.
no long, extinct,
I was thinking maybe in some what if he says junk? I mean, like, all right, cool. All right, A rigs,
hate,
okay, all right. I won't ask about it. Monofilament,
stretch,
Bassmaster Live, MLF Live, good or bad for the sport?
great,
Active spawn fishing,
no issue. That's 2
no
words.
issue. Okay, hey, well that's all right, man. I like it. Well, hey, man, why don't you do me a favor? I know you got some YouTube channels of your own, or at least one. Go ahead and shill your channel. That way people can find you. I'll be sure to share it in the description. Anything you got to say, any sponsors you want to thank. I know you tried to thank them on the stage. You couldn't think of them all. Anybody that you want to put out there, just go ahead and shill it for yourself just real quick here at the end.
Man, yeah, absolutely. So Hunter Baughman Fishing, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You can hashtag Hunter Fishes. I do that on about every post. You should be able to find any of it like that. Man, my sponsors: Redemption Ranch, Horizon Trike Marine, Grubs, Red River Auto Group, Brazalo Baits. This is the jig I threw the whole time. MPV Express, and there's more, and they know I can't. I'd have to have a jersey in front of me, probably remember them. I've got about 16. Man, they all know. They know. And Lazy Man Outdoors, great people. They all. It takes all of them for me to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, again, Hunter, nice to meet you, first of all, and congratulations on a win. You had that tournament at Arkansas River on Sunday, is that right? How'd that
That's
go?
right. Second, drove home, got about 3 hours sleep, went and fished a championship with my partner, and finished up second, and then came home and crashed.
Man, I feel bad for even messaging you about the interview, man. I knew you were traveling and doing things, and you're just busy. So, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me. I know everybody's wanting to talk to you, man, and I know you got a family and all those things. So, again, Hunter, thank you so much for this interview. Good luck with whatever rest of the season you got. If you ever need anything, man, you holler at me, and I'll see what I can do. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, buddy, take it easy.